Hello, this is Dread, and in today's video topic, this is going to be a video talking about the cycle refresh announcement that EHG made a few days ago. I did not want to make a video instantly on it as I wanted it to sit a little bit in my mind and give a much more balanced take about the situation instead of just, being a little emotional about it. As human beings tend to do when they see things that they dislike, which I definitely disliked the announcement the moment I saw it, as I'm just like, what's the point? But we're going to go talk about it more in detail here. So, if you don't know, due to the gold dupe that happened about a month ago for the second time in the second season, they decided that, hey, we should reset the cycle because it's kind of hard for people to play Merchant's Guild when everything costs so much. And it's kind of weird because, I don't think the gold dupe really affected the economy in the way that most people think. People think that the gold dupe actually, affected the economy in a way that actually affected them. But what happened was there was a period of time where, you could set a item on the auction house for 50 billion gold and have it be sold due to, the gold influx and all that. But I think what happened was once they got banned, people just kept putting items up for ridiculous amounts. I'll be looking for a random item for a build, and I'll just be like, why is this so expensive? Nobody freaking uses this, right? Yada, yada, yada. And the problem is, well, even though the gold dupe is gone, the Zet guys, the mentality behind it is still there. It's like, hey, all this stuff is expensive because I think people have a billion gold, which, they don't have that much gold because there's not that many people playing still. So that means that, the prices are significantly more than what I would call reasonable, even though there's no more influx of gold into the economy, even after this point. So they're deciding to reset it. Now, there's a few problems with this. They're resetting the entire cycle. So for instance, COF included. And there's a few things that are a problem with this, right? COF gamers, they're getting completely burned over coals for this, for, things that happened in Merchant's Guild. And this is the problem that you run into when you have this multiple faction thing. A lot of people praised it for being revolutionary or whatever you want to call it, but I kind of did not see that myself either. And now the ugly head of the two-headed system is starting to show, and that is mainly because, when you balance the game, if you're not balancing each game mode individually, if you're trying to balance them at the same time, like they have been, you get situations like this where you screw over the entirety of COF for, Merchant's Guild sins. So for instance, if you're a COF gamer who's been playing the entire season, most people who are still playing at this point, a very diminished amount, people just playing COF and trying to play COF for the entire cycle, you are getting screwed over by this because all your stuff is getting put into Legacy. It's like, well, Dread, what's the problem with your stuff being put into Legacy? Well, the biggest issue is it kind of screws over your stash in a significant way. If you get your stuff moved over to Legacy right now, you have a bunch of remove only tabs. And the problem that ends up becoming because of this is you run out of stash room. So in Path of Exile, you have the same issue, although not to the same extent, because in Path of Exile, most of your wealth on your account is a lot of currency and things that stack. But for Last Epoch, a lot of your wealth and your stuff is item based. Like items on the ground, like that exalted T7 spell critical strike chance amulet that you found, right? That takes a slot. Those two-handed maces you're going to use to slam into your, end, like the hammer, whatever it's called. Everything, right? Everything is an item. Like most of your wealth are items that get put into the stash. And what happens is you have in COF too, right? You're going to be going through a bunch of items, using prophecies to get more items, and odds are you're going to need this, you're going to need that. So it's best to save most things that you get that are good. what happens is your stash ends up becoming full and people end up already having this issue in normal cycles, and then it's even worse in legacy because you need even more stash tabs, but you only have so many. And I think that this is a problem that EHG eventually needs to address, where since the game is more item focused, they need to figure out more convenient ways of stashing items that isn't just having 200 stash tabs. Like, we probably could go for some quad tabs. Quad tabs would be great. I feel like as though I would pay a premium in terms of gold to be able to upgrade my stash tabs to quad, but that would also require them to fix some performance problems that stash tabs have. Like, for instance, a friend of mine, Perry, he's played COF, and just on this cycle, like, if he clicks on his stash, it takes like at least 5 seconds to load just to be able to load his stash. And that's obnoxious, and it gets even worse if you go into Legacy. So, as you can tell, going to Legacy is not a very pleasurable experience right now. So, I definitely think that, booting all the COF players to Legacy is the poor choice. I would believe that it would be easier if they could just, make it so that you could have like a private league-esque situation where you could join the private league and you could do that. But I think they're already set, like their minds are set, so we're just gonna have to deal with it. And I'll be honest, guys, it's not looking too pretty. Like, I try to be the most positive human being ever. Sometimes I try, but people know me as the negative Nancy of the community, as I usually say it how it is. And I'll be honest, guys, this looks like a desperate attempt in trying to recover some of the player base in a manner that benefits them. And I don't think it's going to work. I legitimately don't think it's going to work, due to the fact that the event itself isn't really going to bring much. If you don't know, the event is just going to be killing some skeletons or whatever. They haven't said anything in regards to that other than you're just going to be killing skeletons. Like, whatever, dude. Like, who cares? Like, I don't know. Like, if anyone reads that and is excited, like, good for you, but I'm not. And most of the majority of the community isn't either. It's like, you read something like that, it's like, whatever. And then their very specific idea of not doing balance changes or taking the time to do balance changes. Like, I feel like that's also a mistake. Like, if you're going to put all of this effort just to reset the cycle and like kick out all the COF gamers, you should at least, I don't know, use that time wisely, i.e., work on things that should have been worked on years ago, like the balance of the game. So, that's another mistake I see here. Like, I don't know. It's just like, my problem is, if it's too much to ask for balance or to ask for an actual event with actual things going on, then they shouldn't be doing it in the first place. Now, the problem is, though, due to the placement of this event, if you don't know, it's from September 19th to October 19th. This means that we're not going to get the next Last Epoch patch until December. Probably, because we're not going to get in October, because, that's Diablo 4 patch. We're not going to get in November, because that's Path of Exile 2 beta. So that means that the earliest slated date for 1.2 is December, and there's not enough content in the patch to merit waiting like 5 months for most people. Like, the gaming industry has evolved in a way where people, want to have a rhythm of, like, hey, I'm going to play this, then I'm going to play that. And due to the fact that, the rhythm of Last Epochs has been hurry up and wait of late, like, people aren't going to stick around for that. And, it's just how it is. It's why, 1.0 did so well and 1.1 didn't do nearly as well, because, they took 5 months to implement 1.1 and people just forgot about it. Like, that's the worst thing to be as a game in this day and age, is to be forgotten. You don't want to be forgotten. And this kind of like cycle event, it's like everyone's looking at it, it's like, oh, all right, I'll see you in 1.2 when you actually have something for us, right? And that's kind of what this seems like. It's like, oh, like, sweet, oh, yada yada yada. And I'll be honest, for me myself, I'm going to start looking at other options here in terms of YouTube and other things. I might be covering other games in more detail. Like, I don't know, play more Path of Exile, I guess. Because I'll be honest, like, Last Epoch, from my point of view, looks like to be a sinking ship. And I hope it doesn't end up being that way. Maybe they can redeem it, but they have had a very bad track record so far, and it's not looking like it's improving in any capacity. So we'll see. I thought 1.1 and 1.0 was going to fix it, and they did fix a lot of the other problems, but the scheduling issues, like all of this and all that, it's just all combining and kind of ruining the game for most people. Now, with all that being said, this has been Dread. I'll have to go do something else. Bye.